kind of man is this that walks like another?
The High Priest.
High Priest, how did you become a High Priest?
What kind of man is this that talks like another? Children of the sun.
Something has to be seriously wrong with anyone to look at this family and not see something different, something alive, something healthy. You can look at this. We have an opportunity to be fortunate to be in the presence of someone who is reminding us that all we have to do is go back to nature if we want a healthy and harmonious life.
It must be
High Priest, how did you become a High Priest?
I was born as a soothsayer. I was born within soothsayers. There's a line of soothsayers, and in that line of soothsayers, my grandmother, my great-grandmother, and one of my grandfathers was a soothsayer. Soothsayer, that's a spiritual healer from our ancestral culture. Although our culture was ripped, stripped, and raped, there were many of our ancestors who went underground and kept and stayed with certain things that maintain us and get us to this point today. From that time, I spent a great deal of time in West Africa. There's a place called Latte and a few other temple areas, and in Kemet, Egypt. And at a particular point in time, I had sort of like a double anointment, as you passed the priest stage and you have to take your elderly responsibility. That was actually anointed from birth, but when I went to the ancestral land, it became double anointed. That's how we say double anointed, by those priests who stood waiting, and in their wait, they made an announcement in Ghana back in the early 70s that I must carry my ancestral role, my ancestral temple.
Tell me about what is the royal family?
Well, actually, we have a divine and natural duty, obligation, responsibility, please believe me, to set the seeds of whole life resurrection in Belize. Belize has been ancestrally chosen by the most supreme unseen ancestral Naga priesthood. That Gary Naga, we gotta get the language and comprehend within that, there's been a tremendous journey out of Africa and into North America and Asia, and the point at this particular time that the ancestors have put forward to us that you must return to the ancestral grandfather, father, mother's land in Belize, and there will be a sacred ancestral resurrection. And I'm witnessing, watching it transform, although we have a tremendous task because we've gotten caught up in Western political, social, economic, and the tragedies of religious disorder, and we've come to believe it, know it. But Belize has a very special energy. This is why there are certain Marcus Garvey and others found it very pleasant to be here. We have an energy in Belize that if we can know, we will seek to resurrect. And that's what we're here to seed and inspire.
So tell me, High Priest, why you choose the rainforest in Belize?
Well, actually, I have spent majority of my life in tree areas, inside forests, inside of rainforest areas, in North America, in the South, and in Africa, especially in all of the areas up in the mountains of Brie, inside of Sierra Leone, inside of Nigeria, inside of in Mali and other areas. It just felt natural, and I consume natural. I've been consuming only raw, uncooked fruits, vegetables, seeds, and nuts for well over 50 years, and it's natural, and I have to be in an environment that will allow I to do that clean. So what happens is, when the spiritual search for homeland was established, although Diana was drawn to the south, there was a happening, and that happening happened to put us right in that area, and that area is satisfying the spiritual call at this particular point in time.
Will you be in a position to send a message to our political leaders or other religious leaders in the country?
I have absolutely nothing in I that will prevent I from speaking to those who have been given and somehow assumed the role of catering to that vibration that has actually kept our people in a desolate state of being. What we look and we hear that our beautiful Belize is considered as the murder capital of the world, and we look and see our youth hanging on the streets with nothing to do. It's quite clear and obvious that we are being failed, and that we must move into a spiritual consciousness of thought and reason and action if we're going to resurrect anything, if we're going to even survive this particular era of time, and we must do that. So those who have been given the stewardship of political leadership, those who have made proclamations and claim and reduced into that state of religious order that has come out of Western culture and Rome, we must begin to comprehend that we must move back to our ancestral culture where we honor earth, wind, rain, and sun, not deforest the land and make for pollution and cause mental derangement and cause our daughters to run around in what's called sex tourism and all these other kind of toxic kinds of things. That we must take a stand as elders, and this is what we're here to do.
How do you feel and what do you think about now that they're in forests and trees, and so they are falling down, they are cutting down? What do you think about that?
It hurts me to my heart. Belize has an ancestral role. There are two rainforest areas left in Western Hemisphere. That is Belize, one of the smallest, and Brazil. And both are being under the attack by those who have nothing in their mind except desecrating. Even if they think the whole hunting and herding vibration, the cattle raising vibration, where feeding the cattle supersede taking care of the earth and planting and harvesting and taking care of the populations. It's quite clear that there's no common sense there, no common reasoning, even when we see all the smoke all over the place and the toxins and the pollution and the different sickness, the mental, physical sickness and disease, the cancer, the heart attacks, the diabetes, all the other factors. There's not enough sense to realize that we must give love back to Mother Earth. And so it hurts tremendously. What we can do in our little area is to manifest that consciousness and spread it as much as we can. And supreme thanks to folks like you, Brother Pandy, who take the time to search out that comprehension and information and spread it to the population. Because we must wake up while we have time to wake up, or we will be sleep like sheep, getting prepared to go to the slaughterhouse.
Is there a difference between the High Supreme, the Supreme, and the God that people serve?
Oh, of course. I have no hesitation in answering anything. The thing is, what happened? What happened is clear. There was a war culture that occurred. It's a historical thing, and our people have been disconnected from it. And that war culture that occurred, hunters and herders who worship sheep herders. That is, they worship the Lord is their shepherd. That means the population become like sheep, and that the shepherd become the Lord. And in the warlord culture, that's what the shepherds serve as. And then in British culture and the cultures that invaded and intruded upon our presence, they say, yes, my Lord. And so our populations have been actually whitewashed by some toxic kinds of thinking and reasoning that disconnects them from earth, wind, rain, and sun. We as a population have always honored earth, wind, rain, and sun. we have come to recognize clearly that we are of earth, our body, wind, our breath, rain, the blood in our system, and sun, that heartbeat that keeps the heat of the temple at 98.6. We have to begin to use common sense reasoning. What we have learned to do is worship the warlord's deity, and they got lots of them, and they're always warring and fighting, always creating conflict and confusion, always wanting to rape, murder, enslave, and in the end saying that the meek shall inherit the earth, and the meek have it 6 feet of earth from the death plague that those warlords spread throughout the planet. This Ankh represents the symbol of life. The cross represents the symbol of crucifixion, death. Those who carried the symbol of death happen to be those who say the Lord is my shepherd. The sacred ancestral ones carry the symbol of life. That is the divine union of masculine and feminine energy going forward to multiply divinity into every offspring and vibration. This is what life is all about. We are not having time to waste immensing our energy into death. We must honor life, because life is for those living in divine order.
The children of Seth came pale and cold, shake the devil out, shake the devil out the children. The children came pale and cold, rise up, children of the sun, and behold, it ain't about the color, complexion of your skin. It's about the state of consciousness you live within. The children of Seth came pale and cries up, shake the devil.